we're all going to give our playoff predictions. Chris, I will let you get us started. What do you see in this playoff, and how is it going to play out?
In the first round, I've got Texas beating Clemson, Ohio State beating Tennessee, Penn State beating SMU, Notre Dame beating Indiana. So I've got all the home favorites there. That gives you a quarterfinals of Oregon, Ohio State, Georgia, Notre Dame, Boise, Penn State, Arizona State, Texas. The winners, I have Oregon advancing to the semifinals. I have Notre Dame upsetting Georgia, getting to the semifinals. Penn State beats Boise State, and Texas beats Arizona State. That gives us a Final Four of Oregon versus Texas and Notre Dame versus Penn State. I've got Oregon beating Texas. I've got Notre Dame beating Penn State for a national championship game of Oregon versus Notre Dame. Winner is Oregon, the only undefeated team this season. The team I think has the least amount of flaws. I'm going with the Ducks to win it all, and the 7-seed Notre Dame making it all the way to the championship game.
I like it. I'll run through my bracket really quick. Chris, these home favorites are not all winning this weekend. At least one's going to lose, maybe two. There's no way. I think Tennessee beats Ohio State. Vibes game. I think Ohio State, if it's 10-0, if they get down early, Ohio State, it's going to be some tight, puckered butts in the stadium.
Barely going to be a home game.
I'll go. Yes.
Barely a home game with all the Tennessee fans showing up, right?
Listen, this has become a talking point. I'm very curious to see what it ends up being. You hear some of the reports from like the secondary markets, a lot of Tennessee fans buying. I mean, they're certainly going to be more motivated to go. We'll see. I'm not going to rule anything out. I just think we'll see. I'll reserve judgment till the game. I'm not going to go one or the other on how the fans will travel. They'll be motivated. Can you actually get the access to tickets? We'll see. Anyway, so I like Tennessee to win that game. They would face Oregon. I like Notre Dame to take care of Indiana. That's another one I think Indiana can win that game too. And then I got Penn State beating SMU and Texas beating Clemson. I like Oregon to beat Tennessee in the second round. I like Notre Dame to beat Georgia. I don't think Carson Beck's going to play. I think they're going to be coy with it. I don't think Carson Beck's going to play. And if he does, I don't think this is an injury that you can just be your normal self with. And I think Notre Dame can sense that. Their defense, if Georgia is one-dimensional, Notre Dame eats them up. Notre Dame wins that game. I like Penn State to beat Boise. I think Boise can contend in that game. That's a dangerous one for Penn State. That's one that, if you're James Franklin, you do not want to lose. James Franklin, by the way, if he doesn't get to the semis, it's going to be a long offseason for a guy in Happy Valley. But I think he does. And I think Texas takes care of Arizona State pretty easily, honestly. I think Texas is just really good on the line of scrimmage. I like Texas to beat Oregon in the semis because of the best team on the line of scrimmage. They're better than Oregon. And then I think Notre Dame beats Penn State. Kind of a weird matchup. I've got 1, 5, 6, 7 as my semis. But that's in part just because Notre Dame, I think, has a nice road, and I think they take care of that business there. Get to Texas in the championship, and Texas beats Notre Dame to win it all in the game in Atlanta. A lot of people are going to be watching that game. Two pretty big fan bases. Dame, how do you see this one playing out?
Well, I'm glad that we all just have different matchups, different brackets, because it shows how anybody can win, and these matchups can go any kind of way. But to get into it, I've got number 9, Tennessee beating Ohio State in the shoe. They would take on number 1, Oregon. I've got Notre Dame beating Indiana, which I agree with you, Ubben. I think Indiana could win this game, but I'm going to go with Notre Dame despite what I've said all year long. I think Penn State beats SMU. They'll play Boise State. Then I've got Texas beating Clemson. They'll play Arizona State. So in the quarterfinals, I've got Oregon knocking off Tennessee. I've got Georgia beating Notre Dame. I've got a surprise. I've got Boise State knocking off Penn State and making it a very miserable offseason in Happy Valley for James Franklin. And I've got Texas rolling over Arizona State. So get to the semis. I've got Oregon versus Texas, Georgia, Boise State. I'm going to go with Texas to beat Oregon. I'm kind of with you, Ubben. I think they've got the better of the two offensive lines, the defensive line. I think this Texas secondary, we have not talked about how good they are enough.
Yeah.
They're one of the best ball-hawking secondaries in all of college football, and they have showed that. And then I like Georgia to beat Boise State just because I think that's where Ashton Genty and Boise State's luck runs out. This is a really good Georgia SEC defense. They play against good running backs, good rushing attacks all the time. I think they come out on top of that matchup. And then lastly, we got Georgia and Texas for the third time this season. And somehow, some way, Texas gets it done.
Split
it
national
is so
championships
hard.
happening.
The only reason I'm taking Texas in this game, if they face off the national championship, is because I think it's impossible to beat a team 3 times in a row. That's how I feel about it.
I like the Boise over Penn State pick. I thought about it because, obviously Ashton Genty's gotten plenty of pub, but we've been on him on this pod. Maddox Madsen's good. Like, Boise is way more balanced than people think they are, but they have Ashton Genty, so of course they're going to give it to him 30 times. But if Boise gets down, I like Penn State's front. If Boise's down 10-0, like, they'll still be fine. If they're down 14-0, they can rally. I don't think those things are impossible. The only thing I would be concerned in that matchup is, can Boise handle the Singleton, issue with their running game up front. But I think offensively, somehow we're sitting here. Boise's the 3rd seed, and I think Boise's maybe a little underrated. I think people just think it's the Genty show. They're a good team, really good team.
So Ubben and I, we both have Georgia losing to Notre Dame. You've got Georgia going to the championship game. I think the Carson Beck injury is what it is for a lot of us. I mean, maybe Gunnar Stockton.
Yes.
He did win that second half. He did not play bad.
I was going to say,
Texas.
they beat Georgia without Carson Beck.
Beat Texas, yeah. Beat Texas without
Georgia.
Texas was unprepared for the running quarterback, though. They looked really lost in trying to run to guard the quarterback run game because they hadn't repped it at all that week. It seems like it shouldn't be that hard, but they seemed like Georgia was catching them off guard all the time. It's 3rd and 6. Here comes the 4th quarterback draw we've run, and Texas is like, whoa. Like, I don't know what was going on with that, and because it was like either we're gonna throw a hitch, we're going to let our receivers block up some screens, or we're going to fake a screen and run a quarterback draw. That felt like that was Georgia's entire offense the second half. So I don't know. I think if Carson Beck can play and is 75% of what he can be, I'm kind of with you, Dame. I think it's probably Texas, Georgia in the end. I just think Georgia's going to play games with this injury. I don't think he's going to play.